and welcome to Rollwise, the show where we talk about all things tabletop role playing. Today, we are going to be doing a little bit of character creation for our upcoming playthrough of Cyberpunk Red. I've discovered a pretty fun little adventure scenario, whatever you want to call it, from the Tales of the Red that I want to run these guys through. And Cyberpunk Red is one of my bucket list RPGs. It's been around for a long time, but I just haven't had the chance to play it. So these guys will be my guinea pigs, and we will see how it goes. So, if you guys like these kind of conversations, don't be afraid to share our channel with people, and of course, subscribe. Let us know what we're doing right. Let us know what games you'd like to see us play, and of course, give us some comments. See how things are going. So, you guys ready to dive into Cyberpunk Red?
Indeed.
Mm, yeah.
Yeah. So Cyberpunk Red is interesting in so much as that, at least from my perspective, it seems like it evolves over time. Right now, you have, of course, Cyberpunk 2020, and then you have Cyberpunk Red, and they have two kind of distinct feels to them, as it kind of advances in time. Because Cyberpunk Red takes place in 2045, and it's kind of post-apocalyptic in so much as that the world is reeling from a very from the fourth corporate war or something like that. And
Hmm.
so bad corporations. But so it's got a little bit of a different vibe to it because the sky is red from the fallout, other things are going on. It's still pretty bleak and all that, but it's still society. So society is trying to push on through and all those things. So as part of our character creation and everything like that, we're going to kind of go through the process today, and these guys are going to make two characters in which we're going to use. And I think we'll have fun with it because definitely a it is definitely a fun take on just pure cyberpunk. So you guys have your characters all figured out and all that kind of stuff, or shall we just kind of go over all the different the roles and everything like that, or how do you want to do that?
You can go over the different roles. I don't think. I think I have an idea. I think Jeff still has some
I'm still narrowing
considerations.
it down, but I'm willing to
Okay.
play several, but that doesn't help us. So I'm
Okay.
I'm narrowing it down because there's definitely
Fair
some
enough.
I don't want to play.
Sure. So I think the number one thing that probably should be talked about before creating characters for Cyberpunk is that first of all, there's definitely a bunch of mechanical rules that are laid out later on in the book. But one of the things that they talk about before they get even to the rules and the roles and everything like that is that they want to look at you from a cyberpunk player is that they give you three rules that they want you to kind of adhere to. One, it's style over substance. I think that's a pretty important rule. The look is just as cool as everything else that you're going for. Attitude is dangerous. So each character that is worth playing and everything like that. And then you live on the edge. So this is where you're going to be taking risks. You're going to be those. You're gonna kind of put it all on the line whenever you're doing your job and everything like that. You want to be the action. You want to start the rebellion, as they say, light the fire, do all that kind of stuff. You don't want to have to worry about it coming to you and everything like that. And then, of course, there is a fourth rule that they suggest: break the rules. I'm not sure how that'll come up just yet, but that'll be something I think that'll be funny to figure out as we're playing this. But I think that that's just kind of a baseline to kind of go into it. So as for roles, um, the roles in this, since it's part of that cyberpunk view, there are some roles that are definitely different than I would have expected. But you first of all have rocker boys. That's the rock and roll rebels who use performance art and rhetoric to fight authority. You have your solos, which are your assassins, bodyguards, killers, soldiers for hire in a lawless new world. You have netrunners, cybernetic master hackers of the post-net world, and brain-burning secret stealers. Ooh, that sounds fun. Techs are renegade mechanics and super tech inventors, the people who make the dark future run. Med techs are unsanctioned street doctors and cyberware medics patching up meat and metal alike. There's a lot of meat in this book. I can tell you that much. Um, medias are reporters, media stars, and social influencers risking it all for truth or glory. Execs are corporate power brokers and business raiders fighting to restore the rule of the megacorps. Lawmen, maximum law enforcers patrolling the mean streets and barbarian warrior highways beyond. Fixers, which are deal makers, organizers, and information brokers in the post-war midnight markets of the street. And then we have nomads, transport experts, ultimate road warriors, pirates, and smugglers who each keep the world connected. Now, before I turn it over to you guys to discuss what of those types of roles really appeal to you, is that know that each role has a specific role ability. So, like in the case of rockers, they have a role ability which is charismatic impact. A rocker boy's role ability is charismatic impact. With this ability, they can influence others by sheer presence of personality. They need not be a musical performers. They can influence others through poetry, art, dance, and or simply their physical presence. And so you'll see that there is flavor assigned to each of the roles that's determined exactly by that role ability. Just something to kind of throw out there. So while we
Yeah.
probably won't talk about all the role abilities, we'll probably specify our discussion on the role abilities for the roles that you choose. There are some pretty cool role abilities out there. So who wants to go first? Roll.
You
And
got
I
yours
guess before you
decided,
guys
Brent?
go,
Yeah, I think I'm going with the solo. The mercenary.
okay. And just a side note, there is a lot of cool downloads at the R. Talasorian games, including fillable character sheets and everything like that. So easy to get the extra electronic resources if you need them. So Brent, solo. Jeff, what about you?
I'm still trying to decide. I keep going back and forth. You know what? I'm just going to go with Nomad.
Okay. So Brent, what is a solo? Like, can you kind of give a little bit more detail on them?
You've already described the solo. They're the mercenary soldiers, sort of characters in Cyberpunk.
I did.
Bodyguards, mercenaries. Um, their special ability is combat awareness,
Mhm.
which gives them an advantage in combat that the other classes don't really have, or archetypes or classes, whatever you want to call them.
Roles. Yeah, I probably should have specified what's their combat role rather than name something about them. Yep. So their role ability is combat awareness. Combat awareness is solo can call up their training to have enhanced situational awareness of the battlefield. Um, Jeff, nomads. Nomads have the ability to, let's see, they have
Moto.
the ability Moto. What does Moto do?
It gives them the higher up you rank Moto, you get the ability to control different vehicles.
That's pretty cool. And nomads being kind of like they tend to be vehicle caravans or something like that. Is that correct, Brent?
Drivers and smugglers, a lot of times, yeah.
Yeah. And so yeah, I think that those are two pretty good classes because I think they're flexible enough to pretty much go with um, whatever thing that we have. So I think that those two will be pretty perfect for the adventure that I'm pulling out of here. All right. So once you've got your role selected, you can basically choose three methods of making characters. Cyberpunk Red uses either a street rat, which is a template approach. So if you've never played Cyberpunk Red, this minimizes your decision making and takes a lot of the fuss out so you can just get to playing. You have your edge runners, which are still pretty fast and dirty. You have a little bit more flexibility as to the types of things that you're making selections on and everything like that. But for the most part, even though you're making personal touches, it's a very condensed, quick way of making characters. Now, there is also a process that they suggest for the complete packages, and this is also known as their calculated approach. The calculated method is the most complicated way to do so because it allows you to customize any and every aspect of your character. It gives you the most flexibility to create the ideal cyberpunk character that you're looking for. Um, you know, non-optimized, whatever you want to call it. It is just it's just whatever you want to make, however you want to
But
make it
the
within the
main thing
confines of
is the stats are point by in the last system. So
Hmm.
Street Rat is the predefined. Basically, you pick a template for the archetype, and it has the stats done for you.
Hmm.
Edge runners, you roll on a table for your stats, and then calculated is you have a point buy. The GM sets a
Hmm.
point system, and then you buy out your stats from there.
Yeah.
So
Well, and you buy everything. You'd have all your money and all that kind of stuff. It gives you a lot of flexibility. Um, and so that so once you've selected the kind of method you want to do, the next thing that you do is you actually run a life path. Now, recently we ran a life path that was pretty in depth, and one of the systems that we kind of had a false start on it. But it was interesting because I do like life path systems. I think life pathing characters almost is like half role playing as you're going through it, because you're kind of like putting together this character as they emerge. And I was surprised to see as many tables as they had in this for the types of things that they were doing. So, do you want to get started with the life path and get
you,
going there?
I think you roll your stats first, don't you?
No, it's just I'm going through the pick a role, because there's basically a map that they have you go through, and it says run your life path as number 2, roll your statistics as number 3, calculate derived statistics as 4, set your skills 5, record weapons and armors, record outfit, and then record cyberware. That's the way they do it in this one, at least.
Okay.
Yep. So
Sure.
run your life path. So life paths are on page 43, and it actually starts off with cultural origins. Now, a lot of these tables and everything like that, it is basically either roll a dice or choose one. Now, in cultural origins, after rolling to determine your cultural region, you choose one of the languages from the skill list adjacent, and you actually begin 4 points of language in that skill. So, for example, if you're North American, you could speak English, French, Navajo, Spanish as one of your extra languages if you so chose, kind of thing.
So we're rolling a d10, or I am.
Hmm.
Brent, are you just picking yours, or are you rolling?
I'll roll. Oops.
Now, and this, of course, something to mention in Red, they assume everyone speaks street slang. That's the pidgin that's been used by everyone in the dark future. So these languages that you get with your cultural region is in addition to your ability to speak street slang. So everyone does have a kind of a common language. Okay, so who's gonna tell me their role first? I don't know. I don't have enough windows open as it stands.
I rolled a
Uh,
3.
yeah.
Roll the 3. Okay, Brent, that would be Western European. So Dutch, English, French, German, Italian, Norwegian, Portuguese, Spanish would be the kind of languages you might know.
And how many of them do you get again?
You get one with that.
One.
So you get, yeah.
English it is. Well, technically 2, because you get street speak in English, or street speak in
Hmm.
your secondary language. Okay.
Yep. So you speak English and bad English. I don't know if that's how that works, but
I thought for sure you were taking Dutch. I'm
where
kidding.
the bright orange represent. What about you, Jeff?
I rolled a 9, so that's East Asian.
Okay. Right on. Cantonese, Chinese, English, Japanese, Korean, Mandarin, Chinese, or Mongolian.
Yeah, I suppose, so that we can talk.
We
I don't know
both
if I care.
we both talk street slang, so we can talk.
Yeah, we both talk street slang, however that works. Let's just go with Japanese.
Okay. Perfect. All right. And so now we get to determine your personality. Um, this is what you are like as a person. So rolling a d10, let's see what kind of people you are.
I rolled a 2,
You're
which is
rebellious,
perfect.
antisocial, and violent. Excellent.
I rolled a 6. I'm stable and serious.
Oh, so you're kind of balancing forces for each other. Stable person with a rebellious person. Perfect. All right. And then your dress and personal style. Now, this is where I thought it was interesting because you start to get a little bit more that, outward style and how you present yourself. So roll a d10 twice, and that one is going to be for your clothing style, and one is going to be for your hairstyle.
Wow, I'm on a string of sixes. Yeah, rolled 3 6s in a row.
So you are bohemian with a striped hairstyle.
3 and 7.
Urban flash with a short and spiked hairstyle. Now, I don't really know what Urban Flash looks like. Like the funny thing about games like this is that it uses terminology that I'm not familiar with. Um, and
I
so
mean,
like,
the descriptors are flashy, technological streetwear, which means more of like the neon sort of cyberpunk,
mhm,
uh, normal, what people see as normal cyberpunk fashion.
yeah. And so, and then of course with Bohemian, you have folksy, retro, and free spirited. So two very different types of people there. Um, and now for your affectation, you are never without D10s.
I have piercings.
Did you get
Uh,
another 6?
Oh no, I just took the hairstyle and the clothing off of the first 6.
Oh, okay. And so
what did I? One second.
piercings. And then for Brent,
3 and 7 is what I rolled on hair, so my hair is wild colors for the 7.
oh, sorry.
Just to clarify. And then we're doing the. This is affectation.
hmm
Tattoos.
Tattoos. A
I
rebellious
rolled a
person with
1.
tattoos. It seems so out of character.
I rolled a 1.
Okay. Now, this is so now I know we've created characters for different systems and we're talking about different character creation advice. But this is nice because it's telling you there's your next category that you're picking out is your motivation and your relationships. So like what do you value most? So 1d10 for that.
Oh, yeah.
Power of friendship.
Mine's honesty. I got a 4.
Mine is love.
Love and
Yeah,
honesty.
I rolled a 7.
Right on. Okay, and how do you feel about most people? Another D10 there.
I rolled a 4.
I hate almost everyone. I guess Jeff being the exception.
Value
Hey,
love.
I got a
hate
10,
everyone.
so people are wonderful.
Wow. Two
Cool. We're
very
gonna get
different.
along fantastic.
Yeah, so you guys are proving to be very opposite each other in many ways. Things that you value the most. Most valued person in your life.
Hey, I just got another
Is-
10. No one. I think people are wonderful, but I don't value any of them.
Fair enough.
Another 1d10.
Yep.
Rolled a 4. A friend.
A friend. Is your friend Jeff? Just out of
Maybe.
curiosity.
We'll see.
I hate everyone except my boo Jeff.
I've rolled 3 10s in a row now.
What? So 1d10 for your most valued possession.
It's a letter.
Okay. And Brent?
Photograph. I rolled a 4.
Is that also of Jeff? No.
I doubt it.
Just kidding.
I
Just
don't
kidding.
even know if we know each other yet, so Unless you're
Um,
making a GM fiat for that we know each other already.
I'm going to make a GM fiat because you know each other. It's easier to do it that way than have you guys just meet randomly and then try to see if you guys get together organically in a one shot. Um, so now you know basically what you guys are like. Your original family background. So where does your family originally come from? 1d10.
I rolled a 5.
Ganger family, a savage, violent home in any place a gang could take over. You were usually hungry, cold, and scared. You probably didn't know who your actual parents were. Education, the gang taught you how to fight, kill, and steal. What else did you need to know? Okay, Jeff, what about you?
That took a minute to roll. I got a 6. Combat zoners.
Combat zoners, a step up from a gang family. Your home was a decaying building somewhere in the zone, heavily fortified. You were hungry at times, but regularly could score a bed and a meal. Homeschooled.
I like how it calls that out. Homeschooled.
Sounds good to me. And then so your environment. So how did you grow up? What kind of places did you and your sibs hang out in? Roll a d10.
Hey, Brent, did we just both roll 10s?
Yep.
And a corporate luxury star scraper high above the rest of the teeming rubble. Wow, your family fortune changed somewhere real quick.
No, the 10 for oh, the description was the same. I thought we had to roll that. Okay, sorry.
Your environment, yeah, childhood environment is what it is.
Okay, childhood environment
Mm-hmm.
was in a star scraper.
Yep,
Yep.
one of the really high rise towers.
But your family had a crisis. In the time of Red, the world is still recovering from a world war and other disasters. Chances are something happened to you and your family along the way. What's the story there?
And then we have a crisis, right?
Yeah, that's the crisis right here.
Second.
Okay, I'm the inheritor of family debt.
Well, apparently what they did is they used all their money and some to get you into a corporate luxury star scraper.
My family vanished. I rolled a 5.
Oh, Brent, yours is one of those ones where it's just like you lived with a ganger family that somehow got into a star scraper and then they all got
Actually,
vanished.
actually, I assume it was the other way around. I lived in the star scraper, and then my family vanished, and I got kicked out, and that's how I joined the gang family.
That makes more sense.
So now we go
I
to our
do.
friends.
Yep, your friends. Now here's where you roll 1d10 and subtract 7 for a minimum of 0. However, I think we're just going to do one friend and one enemy for these characters just to kind of get a feel for how it happens.
All right, one friend and one enemy.
Yep, so 1d10 for each table.
First is friend, second is enemy. Oh, 2 and 2.
So you have a friend who is like a younger sibling to you, and then you have an ex-lover who's an enemy that so then the next column over is what caused it and who's been wronged. So
So do we
you
roll
get
in
to
those
choose.
two, or do we choose?
That one is a choose,
I'll just roll in the
and then I
two.
guess you
I'll
could
just roll.
technically roll
I'll
the
just roll
what
it.
can they throw at you,
Yeah, I'll roll on what caused it and what.
and what can they throw at you.
Yeah. I'll figure out who they are here in a minute. Cause and what they can throw at you. Cause. Pause is a 3. Major public humiliation, and then what can they throw at me is a 9. A powerful corporation. That's good. That's good.
An enemy that can throw an entire corporation at you. How exciting. And what about you, Jeff? What are your friends and enemies look like?
My friend was somebody I know from the street.
Okay. Somebody you know from the street.
And then so far, it's a childhood enemy. And then I rolled a 4 again, so accuse the other of cowardice or some other major personal flaw. And then I
Okay.
just rolled a 10, so what can they throw at me? An entire city or government or agency. So apparently they got a good job after school.
Apparently
I feel like one of those.
We have some very powerful enemies.
Okay. So the interesting thing I thought is that it's not really ugly until the bad blood between you and your enemies finally comes to surface. When you meet, the metal is going to shred. What's going to go down when they get back in your face? So what is your enemy going to do to you is another D10 roll. It's a smaller table or anything like that, but
Which table is that?
that's
on the
on
next page,
page
Sweet Revenge.
52.
Well, that's what you're going to do to them. What are they going to do about it? Oh, it's both.
Yeah.
Apparently, we're going to verbally attack each other.
You just get in a yelling match when you see them.
I rolled
I got a 7. Yeah, I got to verbally attack them.
I'm sure it could escalate from there. So basically, you guys will just yell at each other across the bar if you ever see each other. Perfect. Then, of course, they say your tragic love affairs. It wouldn't be a cyberpunk. It wouldn't be cyberpunk if it was happily ever after, would it? Probably would involve with someone by now that may not, but now that may not be the case. So we're going to give you each a tragic love affair, unless you want to move on to the wrap up.
Well, there's also a life goal after that. Well, that's
There is. That's the life goal wrap up.
Yeah.
All right, my lover mysteriously vanished.
Fair enough. That's number 2 on the
imprisoned or exiled.
Imprisoned or exiled. Fair enough. You run with some pretty rough folks there, buddy.
So a life goal.
Yep. And so now to wrap up the main life path part, they're basically going to be your life goals and roll 1d10.
Mine is to gain fame or recognition.
I rolled a 10, which has become feared and respected.
That seems legit.
And probably through violence seems to be your preferred means according to your personality.
It does, but I care about love a lot.
You know what? You're a very passionate person, Brent, about violence, about people. Very passionate. So just to summarize, you guys want to summarize your life path before we get into your role specific life paths, just so you can kind of put it all together for somebody.
Sure. I'm a younger, probably Englishman, who's rebellious, antisocial, and violent. Likes to dress in kind of urban streetwear, with wild colored hair. I'll kind of figure out what that is. He's pretty much an ex-gang kid. He values love the most. He really doesn't like people. He has a friend that he values pretty much more than anything else in the world. He keeps a valued possession, which is a photograph, probably of his family that he lost. He had a ganger family that he grew up with. Once he dropped down the social ladder after his family vanished, and he was looking to become feared and respected.
The true currencies of the street.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Looking up to Adam Smasher and other street legends like that.
Fair enough.
I think that works. I'm a nomad. Japanese heritage. My personality is stable and serious. I wear bohemian type clothes and have striped hair, so I've got some like bleach stripes in it. I have affectation. I've got piercings along my right eyebrow. I value honesty the most. I feel that people are wonderful, but I don't have a most valued person. I stick to myself. So people are wonderful as long as I don't have to rely on them, apparently.
Well, they're not around.
My most valued possession is a letter from my grandfather. My background is a combat zoner, but my childhood environment was a corporate star scraper until my grandfather got screwed over by a corporation and my family was disgraced and had to leave the city and head for the combat zone. My family crisis is I'm an inheritor of my family's debt. That's what the corporation did to my grandfather, was basically faked a bunch of stuff so that we owed money suddenly, and I have to pay that off. My best friend is someone I know from the street, who I will have to think about who that is. I have a childhood enemy that I accused of cowardice. If they ever get a chance to get back at me, they can throw a city, government, or agency at me. They seem
A little
very
intense.
powerful.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, our revenge on each other will be verbally attacking each other, like little kids at Starbucks. Uh, I had a lover who mysteriously vanished, and my life goal is to gain fame or recognition.
So that your enemy can more easily find you.
Yes. Well, they can't be that hard to find if they can throw a government or an agency or
it's true.
the weight of a city at me.
Yeah, we both have fairly powerful enemies. Apparently, mine can throw the weight of a corporation at me. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. When we piss somebody off, we
when we make
really piss
enemies,
them off. Yeah.
we really are good at making enemies.
Yeah. So let's see. So once you get done with your regular life path, you have role specific life paths that are much shorter in nature, but there's still a few extra flourishes that you add to your character. So for Brent, let's go with you because your solo is first in line. Roll a d6 to choose the type of solo you are.
Oh, 1d6. I rolled the
Mhm.
wrong dice. I am a 1. I'm a bodyguard.
Traditional solo. But now, what is your moral compass like? Now, 1d6 or choose one.
This
Let's
should be
see.
funny. This should be funny. Oh, willing to bend the rules to get the law done. I guess that fits.
To get the job done. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Don't like to be constrained. No boxes for this guy. All right. And next is what is your operational territory? 1d6 or choose one. And then who's gunning for you afterwards?
Moral compass, and then yeah, operational territory.
Now, this one seems to roll a lot of d6s.
So operational territory is I work with a particular fixer or contact, and then or wait, no, sorry, a corporate zone for territory is a corporate zone, and then who's gunning for me is a fixer who sees me as a threat.
All right. Perfect. So you're a bodyguard who's willing to bend the rules, who works for in some corporate area, but seems to have a fixer that wants to see ill of you. Sounds good. And then let's go to the solo. Sorry, let's go to the nomad. Let's just screw that up a little bit. Now the nomad has a couple pages. There's actually more die rolls for the nomad. So the first thing is how big is your pack? Roll 1d6 or choose one.
Yep, I'm doing that. Looks like one, a single extended family or tribe.
Okay. And this is where it differs is that you have to choose is your pack based on land, air, or sea?
It was tempting to do sea or air, but I think land in this case is probably going to be more practical.
Okay, fair enough. Roll 1d10.
So I did think about being, doing
A pirate.
submarine warfare, or what was the best one on the plane? Hang on, in air it was air,
Pa-
yeah, air piracy. I want to rob planes while they're flying, but we're gonna do land. I'll do a D10.
Okay.
6 cargo transport.
Okay. Get things from you get the future's version of UPS. Perfect. All right. So once you've chosen your land, air, or sea, then you do what do you do for your pack? Roll 1d6 or choose one.
Well, I've been rolling so far, so let's just keep. I'll be honest, I've had some good rolls. I haven't loved all my rolls. All right, I am a scout, a negotiator.
Okay.
Just writing all this down so I can add it to the sheet later.
Sure.
All right,
And
my pack's philosophy.
what is your pack's philosophy?
Hey, another one. Always working for good.
Just wants to get along.
Wow, we are opposite people.
Yeah, no, we keep.
I can't wait to
Who's
hear the story of how you two met, really is what it boils down to, and why you started doing jobs together.
Sounds like it's a working relationship, much like the orc and the dwarf in the last game.
who's gunning for my pack? I rolled a 6. Dirty cops.
Ooh. Can't be having the postal system up and running. All right.
Well, cargo means like to be transporting anything. It doesn't necessarily mean the mail.
Yeah, we're probably smuggling.
Well, I mean, smuggling's 8, so it gave it a little bit more sense of legitimacy to me. If there's actually a smuggling option, I was like,
But I mean, cargo transport doesn't necessarily mean
It could be people, weapons. It's hard to say.
yeah.
yeah. But I'm just saying it's more legitimate sounding than smuggling, I guess. Is all I can say there.
That's true. Okay, no, there is a smuggling category, so we're just transporting cargo.
Yeah.
That's
Could be
cool.
bananas.
It
You
could
could be
be.
bringing all the bananas into the ruins of Night City. Um, all right. So after you've got your life path done, you go with your statistics. The statistics, just like every other game, are what represent your abilities and everything like that. Now, in this particular game, statistics are generally rated between 1 and 8, but they can go higher via drugs, cyberware, and all of those types of things. However, they start at 1 typically, or start no higher than 8 for your beginning characters. Now, in this, there are actually quite a few statistics. There's 10 total. There's intelligence, will, and cool as part of a mental group. Cool being the one that was the only one that kind of threw me because I was like, well, what is cool? And, well, it's your ability to impress and influence people through your character and charisma, how well you get along with others, and how you interact with social situations. Empathy is the last one there. Combat group, you have technique and reflexes. Technique being how you manipulate tools or instruments, where reflexes is your response time and coordination. There is a fortune group called luck that is, high enough luck you can tip the scales in your favor. So just a general luck stat. I've always had trouble with just general luck stats because I tend to be just unlucky in general. Also, I don't know. Um, so what you can do with this is you can apply points from the stat to offside die rolls in your favor. However, this pool of points only refills at the beginning of the next session. So I don't know. We'll see how that works. Then you have a physical group, which is your body, which is your size, toughness, and ability to stay alive. Dexterity, your overall physical competence as it pertains to balancing, leaping, and jumping. And then you have your movement, which is your speed of movement, running, leaping, swimming, etc. Now, one thing I did find that was interesting is that like body seems to be the most easily adjusted stat with cyberware and everything like that. So I was reading one thing that actually suggested that body is Cyberpunk Red's dump stat. Have you ever heard that?
Mm-mm. But that makes sense because you can fix it with other stuff.
Yeah, because like right out of the gate, you can get cyberware that boosts your body up considerably. So it just so supposedly that's the dump stat for this game, which kind of surprised me, but makes sense. So with this, um, since we're taking the edge runner approach, what you do with edge runner is that you literally go through and you will have the they're like what they have is they actually have like 10 rows for each of the different 10 rows for each of the different roles. And as an edge runner, what you do is you roll within that each row, whereas a street rat, you just roll once and you take it straight across. So for the solo, Brent, do you want to just do it straight across or do you want to roll for each
You
stat?
might as well roll 10d10s, Brent.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I did.
Okay. So first with intelligence, what do you roll?
7.
So that's a 7.
So 7,
Reflex is a
8.
8.
Let me write these down. One sec. So I rolled a 7, which is a 7. I rolled an 8, which is an
Which is an
8.
8,
I rolled a 6, which
which is a 6.
is a 6. I rolled a
Strangely enough.
4. 4,
Cool.
which is a 4.
Yeah, that's for your tech.
For cool, I rolled a 10,
Okay.
which is a 6.
hmm
For will, I rolled a 10, which is also a 6.
Okay.
For luck, I rolled a 1, which is a 5.
Okay.
For movement, I rolled a 4, which is a 5. For
hmm
body, I rolled a 4, which is a 7.
Okay.
And for empathy, I rolled a 10, which is a 5.
Okay. All right. And so there's just a little bit more randomness to the edge runners versus the street rats when it comes to those. For the nomad, Jeff, what did you get out there then?
I'm almost through it all. So for the first one, I rolled a 2, which is a 5. For the second, I rolled a 6. Or no, yeah. No, I rolled a 5, which is a 6. The third one, I
That's
rolled an
reflex.
8, which is an 8 for dexterity.
hmm
For tech, I rolled a 5, which was a 3. For cool, I rolled a 10, which was a 7. For will, I rolled a 6, which was a 7. For luck, I rolled a 7, which was a 7.
hmm
For
It's
move,
pretty
I
lucky.
rolled a 10, which I can't see because it's behind my
It's a
crayon map.
7.
A 7 again. Wow, that's
hmm
4 sevens in a row. For body, I rolled a 9, which
Which
is a
is a
6.
6.
And for emp, is that empathy or something?
Empathy,
I
yeah.
rolled a 2, which is a 4.
hmm
So tech and empathy. Don't expect me to do anything with those.
Sounds good. So one of the things that so that's basically how quickly the stats are derived. Now, if you do decide to do the complete package, the calculated one, they do suggest a number of points that you use for a point buy. So a starting character typically has 62 points. No stat may be higher than 8 or lower than 2. And they suggest starting at 62 points just to make it so that it's not too imbalanced. However, they did if you wanted to do like a minor supporting character, you could have 50 points, or if you wanted to go all the way up to a major hero, you could have 80 points, which I think means you'd have an 8 in every stat, which would be insane. So at least it feels insane to me. But that just gives you kind of an idea as to how that stands. Now, once you have your stats and everything like that, you get your derived statistics. So there are a few derived statistics, and we're going to start with hit points. Your hit points is, I think it's just hit points and humanity are the only two derived ones. But you have hit points equal to 10 plus 5. Um, body and will average rounding up.
My body and will are 7 and 6, so the average of that rounded up would be 7. So is that 5 times 7?
No, I think it's 10 plus 5 plus the average.
It doesn't say plus.
Yeah, it does look. Oh,
It looks like it's
interesting.
multiplied.
I guess I
but
didn't think about that.
I'm open to being wrong on that one.
1 second.
Oh yeah, it would be. That's right. It's 5 times 7, so it'd be 35.
Yeah,
so it'd be
so-
Plus
45.
10, so I have 45 hit points.
Yep, me too.
Okay, cool. That seems like a lot at level 1.
Yeah. So that must be why it has that chart makes more sense now. So because I was just like 10 plus 5 plus. So what's your body and your will, Brent?
Oh, 6 and 7, yeah.
6 and 7, just like his.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, no, it does. If you go to 6 on will,
7
Yeah.
on
or
body.
45.
Yeah.
Yeah, it actually tells you. You don't have to do the math. It's
you
actually
don't
there
even
in the
have to
box.
do the math.
It's there in the box.
Wow, 75. 75 is the most. 20 is the least. We are closer to the bottom than the top, Brent.
It's true.
Yeah. I
But
was actually
15
kinda-
and 10 isn't possible for a starting character. Your best you could do at a starting character is 50.
Oh, that's right. 8 and 8, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then we're pretty good.
We're,
All right,
we're
I'll
very
take
good,
that.
actually.
I'll take that. Yes.
Yeah, so 45 is where it starts. I was actually checking my math against the Cyberpunk Red app. The companion app is actually pretty badass, not gonna lie.
It is.
So just so everybody's aware, your character is seriously wounded. Seriously wounded threshold is half their total hit points, rounded up, and then your death save is equal to your body statistic. Oh, that makes sense. But since math involved can be a real pain, sometimes we made a table to use instead. My brain just apparently blanked on that.
Hey, my
Perfect.
humanity is 40.
Yep. So humanity is a measure of how well you interact with the world and other people in it. People with very low humanity stats have a lot of problems in human interactions. They become sociopathic, withdrawn, dissociated, or even homicidal. If your character's humanity drops below 0, that represents the depth of your character's emotional life, and they slide into a state called cyberpsychosis, which is
Wow.
What's
it's
your
a
humanity,
aberrant
Jeff?
trait. Like
40. My empathy is only 4.
Oh.
yeah. So
Empathy.
ha-
I got a 4 in empathy and a 3 in tech, which seems like a bad thing in a cyberpunk game.
Let me double check when I roll.
well, so as your character, so the one thing that happens is that so they show you for every point of empathy you have 10 points of humanity.
I rolled
Now, most of the
a
common
10 for empathy.
so
I have
most
a 5.
commonly
You hate
your
people, and your empathy is your humanity is 100.
I
You rule.
dislike them because I understand them.
Okay,
well, you
that's
don't
fair.
have a 10. You can't
I have a
10
5.
in
I have a
empathy.
50. I have a 50. It's higher than. No, I
Yeah,
rolled a
he's-
10, which is a 5.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. You rolled
I
a
was
10,
about
which
to
is a
say,
5. Okay.
Yeah,
yeah.
I rolled a 10, which
But
is
you're
a
still
5.
better than me, who thinks that
still have-
everybody is great. I think people are great.
Yep.
You're wonderful. Have a nice day.
And I hate them because I understand them, apparently.
So so usually, and just so everybody's aware, the most common reason for cyberpsychosis is the addition of large amounts of cyberware. Although there are other reasons to lose humanity, it's just cybernetics is the most common reason people get there. So add lots of cyberware. And it's weird too, because like there are ways in which cyberware doesn't necessarily trigger humanity loss. So like if you get it for therapeutic, because like for example, let's say you get your arm shot off and then you need to have a replacement arm grafted on. So if you get a prosthesis, like just a replacement arm, that doesn't you don't lose humanity for that. Whereas if you have a functioning arm and you go, I need to be chromed out, and then chop it off and add a cybernetic arm, then your humanity is typically decreased. So
The difference is the choice, which I feel is a large mental thing. Like choosing to hack off an arm is pretty weird.
It is, yeah. Well, I mean, and that's what they say. By the time you get to cyberpsychosis, you just see people as replaceable parts. So, um, you guys have your derived statistics done then?
Mhm.
Yes.
Okay. So next we have our skills. Skills are things your characters know or do. Now there are categories of skills: awareness skills, which is awareness of your environment; body skills, use of physical tasks, feats of strength, endurance; control skills involving controlling vehicles or riding animals; education, knowledge and training based on formal education or schooling; fighting skills, the ability to fight hand-in-hand combat or with melee weapons; performance skills, training and acting, musicianship. I guess I didn't see that. Ranged weapon skills, skills in using ranged weapons such as a gun or a bow; social skills, your ability to blend in, avoid social blunders, and show style and grace; and technique skills, trained vocational skills, and craftsmanship abilities. Now, what they talk about in this quite a bit is that your skills are usually a dice. So when you have to roll a skill, you have to roll a dice plus you get your attribute plus the skill. And so a lot of times they talk about like the base level of that, which each skill has a base 10, base 14, and I think base 18 that kind of like tells you how amazing you are on that scale, with base 10 being like lightly proficient. And if you hit base 14 with any of your introductory skills, I think that's, I don't know if you can actually hit base 15. I think you can only get to 14 because I think your skills max out at 6. But basically, base 14 is really quite good at whatever it is that you're trying to do. So rather than necessarily going through all the different skills and everything like that, the the street rat version, you basically just have it all selected for you. But you have and so you basically put that on your character sheet, and of course, don't forget your 4 levels of language. For edge runners, which are the fast and dirty skills, you get 86 skill points divided between your character skills to raise their totals up. No skill can be higher than 6 or lower than 2. The following skills must be level 2, and that means you have to spend skill points on athletics, brawling, concentration, conversation, education, evasion, first aid, human perception, language, street slang, local expert, your home, persuasion or perception, persuasion, and stealth. And then, of course, anything that is marked with a 2 times cost skill point, then those things require 2 skill points to increase it by 1. So it is a little bit more intense through here. And if you want, you can either go through and select your skills offline. So we just don't sit here with a large thing, or you could pick the street rat template of skills. Kind of up to you guys. Doesn't really matter to me.
I'll look at it and then decide, I think.
Yeah, I'm gonna do the same. I may just take the street rat template
Yeah, I might
because
as
I
well.
I don't I don't really know, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna look.
But basically, some skills that that I think can be overlooked really easily is that this game does include a perception skill. And so I think that in games where perception is considered a skill, having some amount of skill in that is usually good for noticing when you're about to be in trouble. And then, of course, this also has an evasion skill, and the skill for getting out of the way of somebody attacking you in melee. That could be a very helpful thing to do as well. So those 2 skills just kind of stood out at me out of all the other skills that were there. Um, of course,
Sure.
first aid too, but first aid is like we
The
never.
first aid's a tech thing, Mike. So my stat is 3. So
And that's
if you get wounded, it was nice knowing you because I think you're a wonderful person.
I'm not a wonderful person, I don't think.
you're,
But
he's
my
really
character
not.
thinks you are. That's the important part. I will be
So,
lamenting you as you pass.
and so next up, we actually have weapons and armor and everything like that. Now, I think this is where we get into the little bit more defined things. From a from the weapons and everything like that, there is a lot of variety in what the weapons do, how they, what you can have, because you can have anything from like a bow or a crossbow to a grenade or rocket launcher, right? So there's, you can go low tech, high tech, however you want to do it. However, for this, even though they describe a lot of different weapons and armors and everything along those lines, they do give you a template for your street rats and edge runners. And so, like skills, your weapons and armors are predetermined from the street rat. However, when you move on to the night market rules, page 340, you have option to buy more weapons and armor as your character progresses. So, when you're looking at the different things here, so for example, a solo would get an assault rifle, a very heavy pistol, a heavy melee weapon, or a bulletproof shield, a basic VH pistol, 30 bullets, 30 basic or 70 basic rifle ammunition, a light armor jack with SP11, a light armor jack head armor SP11. Stopping power is what SP stands for, if my
Mhm.
memory serves. So, kind of saves you the trouble of going shopping, I guess.
Right. Yeah, you can get a template instead of shopping.
Yep.
Sure.
But you do. But the nice thing is that you also get 500 euro bucks to spend on other items or to keep and use later.
All right. And are we doing that offline
We
or?
can do it real quick. I mean, so
Well, if we're
Brent,
doing the template, it's quick. If we're shopping, it's not.
well, you don't. Well, you do the template. You can do the 500 EB shopping offline, but the template we can do that real quick. For nomad weapons and armors, you can do heavy pistol or very heavy pistol. You get basic heavy pistol ammunition times 100, or basic very heavy pistol, or yeah. So you get either heavy pistol ammunition for 100 or very heavy pistol ammunition for 100. You get a heavy melee weapon or a heavy pistol, a light armor jack, SP11 for the body, and a light armor jack, SP11 for the head. And then you guys have 500 euro bucks to spend on other things.
Okay.
Yep. For the complete package, on the other hand, that's when we would just
Right. You get
just
a you
shut it
get an
off.
amount of money. You get an amount of money, and then you
Hmm.
kind of go hog wild.
Yep. Then once we get through that, you get fashion. Where is it? Okay, so how you get stuff, your outfit and gear. Now, in this, outfit is considered like what your daily accoutrement are, as opposed to just like um, as opposed to just like a suit. So, like a solo outfit is going to have, they're going to have the agent leisure wear footwear times two, a jacket times three, mirror shade, bottoms times two, and top times two. Whereas the nomad is going to have um, agent, anti-smog, breathing mask, duct tape, flashlight, grapple gun, inflatable bed and sleep bag, med tech bag, radio communicator, rope, tech tool, etc., etc., etc. So there is a little bit more to based on your class and everything like that.
I see.
Now, it doesn't seem as though you get any other money for your outfit and gear in this scenario. So you get what's basically as part of your template. Now, if you do the calculated package, you do have 2,550 euro bucks to buy any weapons, armor, gear, cyberware, and all that kind of stuff. So that's where your extreme shopping chip is going to come in. Last, I guess before cyberware, you have your lifestyle and housing, which as the only person that really has a housing situated sorted out is going to be an executive. Otherwise, you start living off a rented cargo container in either the overcrowded suburbs, the city, or in a combat zone, and living on the not so luxurious kibble lifestyle, which I thought was kind of interesting that everyone lives off kibble, which is okay. But the first month's rent and kibble are free. After that, you owe 1,100 euro bucks for month 2 on. So just an FYI. Now, last but not least is cyberware. Um, you don't really have a lot of money for cyberware as a as a starting character. You do have your 500 euro bucks, but there is something that you can do if you want to get some more money. Is that did you do this? But when you played before, Brent, is that you basically once you start a character, you can like get an additional 1,500 euro bucks in cyberware if you can convince everyone else playing to also take advantage of the attractive employment opportunity with the military, organized crime, or a sell out to a corpo.
I think I let them go into debt, which is basically the same thing.
I didn't see a let him go into debt, but
There isn't. But it's the same thing. I just used the same concept.
yeah, that's fair. But yeah, so organized crime, sell it to a corpo, or the or join the military for a 1,500 extra euro buck bonus in cyberware. So after that's all done, I mean, you pretty much, I think you're pretty close to the end there. Let me just double check, make sure we got it all. Okay, armors, outfit, and then record cyberware. Yeah. And so once you have your cyberware, you have then created a character for Cyberpunk Red. So pretty easy in the grand scheme of things. Now, what I thought was really amazing, and not to toot their horn a little bit, but I did use the Cyberpunk Red companion app. That's actually the official app. I think it's on
Hmm.
iOS and the other one. I was able to make a character in 3 minutes using
Really?
their approach.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, it was like
Nice.
super duper fast. Um, and you of course can choose the pre-generated if you want to use Edge Runner's mission kit, a template, fast and dirty, and calculated. So you have all three methods that you can use. But if I hit fast and dirty and I choose a solo like Brent was, I hit solo, I select it, I confirm it, and then it you can randomize all your names and everything like that. You can go to your relationships, decide who you want to have friends later and all that stuff. You can choose your stats, or maybe not. You can't. I don't know if you can choose your stats, but it tells you what your stats are that are pre-generated rolls. It tells you what your skill points are, and you can add your additional remaining skill points, and then it gives you your equipment, and done. I just made a character. This is solo using that
Yeah, it's very
companion app.
fast. Their app is very good.
Nice.
Yeah, like it's super good. So if you are looking at electronic resources and everything like that, I would suggest using their companion app. It is super tuned and really fast to do it. Now it probably goes a little bit slower if you're doing the calculated version, but if
Sure.
you just want a down and dirty character, boom, done. So that's it.
Sounds good.
Cyberpunk Red,
Yeah.
Cyberpunk Red characters. So the next time we'll probably be playing next week, getting everything going that way, and probably talk about some first time tips that we're discovering to learn how to play Cyberpunk Red and what you can do to maximize this coming this on our next episode. So, you guys have anything else you want to final thoughts before we get out of here?
No, it
No,
sounds good.
I thought that was pretty streamlined. I
Yeah,
didn't think it
it's
was
pretty
bad.
quick character creation. It's a little bit longer if you do the point buy if you want to have more control over your characters,
Sure.
but the life path is fun. Like it's general enough to where you can get key parts of your character, but it's not specific enough. Like the problem with the other one that you started talking about is it was very specific and it made for weird combinations of your character. Whereas this is more general and tuned to the archetype that you're playing, which helps.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought it helped. It helped me build a backstory. I started adding in stuff
Yeah.
that kind
Yep.
of fit. So
Yeah, it
I
gives
thought
you ideas more than says this is this is who your character is. They wear these
Yeah.
clothes only. Like, yeah.
Yeah. So it's and you know what I'm probably thinking is the other lap path that we played through seems to have maybe been inspired by something like this. Just they were like, you know, what would be really cool is if we made it more in depth and confused.
Kitchen sink. They threw in the kitchen, more of the kitchen sink, I think.
Yeah. And that's fine. I mean, you try different things and see what happens, but I think this was really good. So I'm excited. Are you guys excited to play the characters? They seem characters you'd be interested in
Yeah.
playing for more than one adventure. Should we
Yeah,
do a
I am.
campaign of Cyberpunk?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
am definitely.
Okay. Well, then I guess we'll call it there. Jeff, how do they get a hold of us outside the comment section in YouTube?
They find us on social media. We are at Rollwise, Facebook, Threads, Instagram, Blue Sky,
Yep, all the places.
all the places. Or they email us. We are rollwiseguys@gmail.com.
And as always, thank you for joining us. We hope you enjoyed learning a bit about our characters as we did. And as always, roll well, roll wise, and be safe out there, everybody.
See
Thanks.
ya.
Thank you.